Welcome to Brave Healer Productions. It's time to experience what's possible.
What if there's something you haven't learned yet that could change everything? Welcome, everybody. I am Sherry Elise. I am a five-time published author, and I am host of the TV show Good Morning Joy. And I am here in partnership with Brave Healer Publishing to introduce you to some of the amazing authors in one of their newest books, The Ultimate Guide to Self-Healing, Volume 6. 25 home practices and tools for peak holistic health and wellness. And before I introduce you to these fabulous people that are just sitting there patiently, I want to give a shout out and huge gratitude to the lead author on this book, who just so happens to also be the CEO of Brave Healer Publishing, Laura DeFranco. Laura had the bravery to step up in 2020 when it was such a difficult time for so many of us and grab hands with other healers and come up with the first volume of this book to be able to offer you tools to be able to heal yourself. And 6 volumes later, we are here, and the book is just as incredible. And I'm so excited to introduce you to these fabulous people. Garrett Free is a coach and functional psychedelic facilitator who helps you address the cracks in your life before burnout makes the decision for you. Jean Voice Dart is a multiple #1 best-selling author, coach, and expressive arts therapist who helps others feel, reveal, and heal through the arts. And Marilyn Faye is an integrative health coach who helps entrepreneurs optimize brain and body performance through DNA analysis and somatic wisdom, creating deep, lasting health and lifestyle transformations. Welcome, everybody. So great to see you.
Thank
Hello,
you.
Sherry. Good
Yay!
to be
Thank
here.
you. So excited to have you here. I'm just going to dive right in, and I'm going to start with you, Jean. First, your chapter was beautiful as always. You have such a way of expressing your soul through everything that you do, and I felt it in this. And I would love for you to tell us the name of your chapter and your why behind writing it.
My chapter is chapter 9, and it's From Ache to Awake, Beating Pain with Rhythmic Renewal and Reverence. And the why, what a good question. I've been spending probably the last 40 years focusing on spirituality and the emotions, dealing with grief, trauma, and chronic pain clients. And I wanted to go back to my roots, which is music therapy. I'm a registered music therapist. And this whole idea of rhythmic reverence and renewal. And it's just so important because rhythm is in everything, the spinning planets, our heartbeat, just the baby's rhythmic breathing, all the sounds of nature, the crickets chirping. It's everywhere, and it's in our language. We say we're off, we're out of sync, all this getting back in rhythm. And that's so important to me as a disabled mobility challenge person. And so that's what I went back to. Yeah.
Jean, I'm so inspired by you, by your life, by the way you show up for it. And you say it so casually about what you face on a daily basis, uh, but how you find such reverence and such gratitude and joy in your everyday when so many who don't have the same challenges maybe have more trouble doing that. What I loved in your chapter, and it was just I felt like I was moving along with you in the beginning and the poetry of it. You talked about the rhythm, which I'd never thought about before, the rhythm of our heart and breath being in unison with the universe. And I think a lot of us know that dancing, we think about movement and we think about dancing, but you brought forth so much more of rhythm. Can you share with us maybe some other aspects that we don't think and how that has helped you in this journey with chronic pain?
Well, thank you for asking that question. It's not just, you don't have to be somebody that plays the guitar or dances or, to understand about rhythm. It's everywhere. And when we are feeling ill, we're out of the rhythm with the universe. We're just out of sync. And we can do simple things like when you're beating an egg, when you're cooking your breakfast, just feel that rhythm, feel that motion, just tune in and let go and just flow with that. It's everywhere. And it's getting, opening that listening ear, that inner ear to the sound of what's happening around us. Go for a walk. You'll hear and feel the rhythm. And I'm deaf. I'm profoundly deaf in one ear and half in the other. But you can feel the rhythm in your body, this rhythmic flow. And it's so important to connect with that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I just loved how you shared how that heals us, that helps improve because think about a baby and the rocking and that whole motion and just so all of that was so, as I said, beautifully expressed in your chapter and so grateful for you writing that. I'll talk to you in a little bit. I want to ask Marilyn the same question. Can you share with us first, hi, and can you share with us your chapter's name and your why behind writing it? I'll ask to unmute. There we go.
Of course. Thank you for having me today. The chapter is chapter 4, and the title is Your DNA, Decode Your Divine Design, Express Your One-of-a-Kind Code Within You. And my why behind the chapter is I want as many people to know that DNA is available now. It used to be $95 million to have this information. And we have a story written inside us. It just makes life so much easier to know what the story is.
Share with us, let's go deeper in that. So a lot of people don't know about what our DNA can share or show. And you shared in your story, these health challenges that you had and all of the things that you did to
The wrong
try
way.
to yeah.
Yeah.
And honestly, I related to that. I was like, oh, okay, so maybe probably that pantry shelf right there with all of the wellness products trying. And it all went back to
Yeah.
DNA. Talk to us, share with us that don't know anything about it.
Yeah, I just had a friend text me yesterday saying, "Oh, I wanted to talk to you about doing a parasite cleanse." And this is a common mistake we make is to go to the end of the line first rather than raw materials. Most of us are mineral deficient in some way, vitamin deficient in some way, and our DNA tells us specifically what we need and what type of vitamin we need. So many people can't tolerate methyl donors, but many products out there combine them because it's easier to sell, it's more convenient. So what DNA does is it allows you to really personalize your own supplements with your own knowledge. It really gives you empowerment to be able to look through things and say, oh no, I don't need that. Oh no, I don't need that.
Yeah, and you shared so powerfully in your chapter, not even just the physical, but it's a whole expression of our DNA. Can you talk a little bit about that? Because
Yeah.
that's where I was like, what? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So we're the architect. We decide how it's read. We get to design it, but we're given the blueprints to work with.
I think that was such an aha moment was, okay, so just because these are the certain things, there's other ways to show up. Can you share one of the tools that you've written about the different keys?
Yes. Um, awareness. Awareness is a huge one because medical anxiety is real. And we can get stuck in this loop of I'm dying, literally. It's like it just perpetuates itself. And when we're deficient in certain minerals, our body's not operating at full capacity. And so we can just spiral down. And with awareness, we can know that we're more than our symptoms.
Awesome. I love it. And I think what is so great about Laura's collaborative Brave Healers collaborative books is that, our authors are not just sharing stories, like you're giving the practical tools so people
Yeah.
can have that awareness, so we can learn. Because, like I said, I read it and I was like, I had no idea. So,
Yeah. And
yeah.
so I'm one of those people where I didn't want to know my DNA. Why would I want to get the bad news? but it's not bad. And then
Right.
I even have a wonderful money coach who said, oh, I didn't win the genetic lottery. And I'm like, I want to challenge that because you just wrote a book and you developed this technique for millions of people to learn. But she's taking some of her genetic mutations as not winning the lottery. We have to
Mm,
work with what we have
amazing.
and
Love it.
celebrate our gifts. We all have
Yes.
them.
Yeah, 100%. Garrett, I am going to ask you the same question. Tell us your title and what was your why behind writing this awesome chapter?
Yeah, hello. I am in chapter 15. Steady is the new strong. Reclaim your finish line energy. And, as somebody who invested in other people for many, many years and neglected myself, I got to this place where I had to completely shift my priorities so that life could become sustainable for me. And, I was a paramedic in the beginning of my career and was great at pouring my energy into other people. And then I got to a place in life where it's like, oh, wait, I'm turning into a shell of who I used to be. And this is not going to get me to where I want to go for the rest of my life. And, I've had a lot of big shifts, but I find that on a day-to-day basis, it's the small ways that I choose to invest in myself that really make the biggest impact. And so through this chapter, I wanted to show that it is possible to move through the hopeless moments if you make that decision on a day-to-day basis to choose yourself first before you invest in others. And so my morning ritual and routine has become very important to me, but also how I reset in the afternoons has become so important because it's like we oftentimes have that moment, that slump in the afternoon where we just want to take a nap, and we're humans. That's okay. So it's about, kind of intentionally regrouping for a few minutes in the afternoon so that you can finish your day strong instead of feeling like you're just constantly being worn down the entire day.
I will be transparent and said I felt very seen reading your chapter.
Mhm.
I have the same slump, and I did put in my phone at 2 o'clock afternoon ritual alarm as you suggested. I literally did it as I read your chapter, and what I found, well, first, the way you shared your story in that most vulnerable moment, and even with the mother and that moment with her and just seeing yourself and where you were and taking us all through that journey. I think that we all don't realize that it could come down to like you found yourself in a repetitive pattern. And when
Mhm.
you said nervous system and really regulating that, and what does that look like later in the day? That was just a big aha moment for me. Do you find that a lot of people that you work with they have like the same pattern, whether it's the afternoon slump or that one thing that continues to repeat itself no matter how many times they think they've healed?
Oh, yes. I was just talking with somebody this morning about it and somebody yesterday about it, about how it's so easy to get into these burnout patterns or into the same cycle of just meeting after meeting after meeting after meeting. And, when you get to the end of it, whether that's the end of the day, the end of a week, the end of a season, the end of a year, what have you accomplished? When you get to that moment, if you're losing yourself in the process of trying to check a box, how sustainable is that for you? Are you really going to be able to live life the way that you dreamed of in the future years if you're just constantly letting more and more of yourself go through the process of trying to check someone else's box?
And I think we all naturally have that desire to want to check boxes. It's like,
Mhm.
competitive since we're young, right? But this idea that you just shared about taking the smaller things and the chapter and the steadiness of our lives is I was reading it and I just took this exhale. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
all right, we can do this. We can do this. So thank you for that. I'm going to stick with you here for a minute. I'd love for you, this book is about holistic wellness, peak wellness. And, there are people out there who only know one way of healing. I'm curious, what do you think is the importance around holistic healing?
Yeah. So, um, I grew up in the Western medical system. My grandmother was a nurse practitioner. My mom was a nurse practitioner. I started riding in the back of ambulances when I was 16 and was a paramedic by the time I was 21 and got indoctrinated in this viewpoint of kind of sensationalizing the last ditch effects of chronic illness. Um, and like sensationalizing people being in the hospital and needing all of this acute intervention. And oh, I'm on a laundry list of medicines. And when my mom was diagnosed with breast cancer, I took a step back and said, had this moment of, if people are continuing this cycle of chronic disease, despite what the Western system says is the way to treat illness, why are we constantly seeing rates of disease increase rather than decrease? And it took me down this wild path of a holistic approach, not only to treat, but to prevent chronic disease. And I can talk about this for days, but um, what I really resonate with is that for many of us, the earth gives us what we need. And if we are true to that and true to ourselves and true to taking care of our mind, body, soul, and energy in a thoughtful way throughout our lives, we don't have to rely on treatment because we've done the work to prevent chronic disease. So it's just like DNA with Mary Lynn and, focusing on the rhythm of life with Jean. There's, a way to take responsibility for the outcome you desire instead of having a frivolous approach to life and then hoping that the system's going to catch you when you fall into the crack.
Hmm. Thank you for that, Garrett. Marilyn, I'm going to ask you the same question. Why is holistic healing important? The holistic aspect of it. Oh, you're muted.
I'm muted again. For me, it's the quality of life. So traditional medicine's wonderful for keeping us alive, and the question is life or death. Holistic to me is quality of life while we're alive and getting the most out of life while we're here and preventing disease before disease sets in. So disease doesn't happen overnight, it takes many, many years. And holistic looks at what are we doing now to make sure that we stay healthy along the way and enjoy our life.
So a lot of the preventative aspect instead of just the reactive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the normal, like in traditional medicine, normal is based on a sick population. And so you could be normal, but not feeling good. And I think holistic is about feeling good.
I love that. Yeah. Like, why doesn't that become the norm? I love that. What about for you, Jean? Talk to me about the importance of the holistic aspect of healing.
Oh, I love the holistic aspect of healing. It's so important, especially with our rhythmic reverence and connection, that flow, because how can we go through life if we're only focusing on one aspect? We have to, and I teach people to feel, reveal, and heal, that you have to tune in, listen to mind, body, emotions, and spirit, and incorporate all of that wisdom that's embodied within you to heal yourself. So you're listening and you're waiting to see what happens. And if there's a pain there, there's something there, some uncomfortableness, whether it's emotional pain or physical pain or whatever it is. You're listening and you're facing that, you're embracing that. You're not, oh, pain, get out of here. You're loving it and you're thanking it. Thank you, pain. You're telling me what the heck I need to do right now, and honoring that. and getting back in flow, getting back in rhythm and asking how. And holistic offers us so many different ways to do that.
I always just feel like I want to fly when I'm listening to you. Just like I'm with you. I could feel the rhythm. It just pours through you. I think that this holistic conversation is so important, and why this book is so important, because some people can feel like maybe they're a failure, they're just not getting it right. They're working on their mind, right? Like the mind is what the problem is, or they're taking the medicines, as we said, for the physical, but we're not healing. So the fact that all of you in this book really brings that well-roundedness and treating us as whole is so important, and you all do it so beautifully. Jean, last question for you. What is the most important thing that you want a listener or reader right now to know about beating pain?
Well, I think the most important thing is to know that you have it all within you, to trust yourself and to know that you're not alone. There's a lot of help out there, but trust yourself. Take that time to listen. You've got that.
Mm, thank you, Jean. Garrett, I'll ask you, what is the most important thing that you want people to know right now about reclaiming, as you said, your finish line energy?
Yeah, you are the best investment that you will make ever. It's so easy, especially in the US, to get tied up on investing for retirement and trying to seek that next promotion and checking the box for your boss or your partner or your kids or, living and building a life the way society tells you should do it. But if you lose yourself in the process and you get to the finish line and you're just a bag of bones, what's the
Hmm.
point? So, as you think about the decisions you make day to day, think about those athletes that finish strong and how are you setting yourself up on a day-to-day basis to finish strong?
Hmm. What a
Cool.
great analogy about that. And yeah, and keeping because you can't get to that finish line without, as you say, the steadiness, right? And I love, like, I already see the merch that says steady is the new strong, just so you know.
Let me go get that trademark real quick.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. What about you, Marilyn? What is the most important thing that you want someone listening right now to know about our one-of-a-kind code that is within us?
The most important thing I want people to know is test, don't guess. Knowledge is power.
Mm. I love that. Empowering us all to be able, all three of you have done that. You've empowered us to be able to take care of our own healing, to be able to show up as powerfully and as healthy as we can, mind, body, and spirit. Any last words? Is anyone dying to say something that they want to share right now? In any inspiration?
Buy the
I
book.
just want to say thank you to Laura DeFranco again and Brave Healer Productions for putting out this magnificent book with all of these expert professionals and healers and practitioners. So applause
Yes.
to her and thank you to you, Sherry.
Oh, thank you, Jean. Garrett, any last words? Now I'm just putting you all on the spot.
Yeah, I would echo Gene. Thank you to Laura and the collaboration that she brings to these projects because, um, they're when you're thinking about your health, your healing, your wellness, you don't just have to go plop down in a doctor's office and wait for the next pill to take. You can take control of your own destiny. And these books are such a great resource to have a starting place to understand unique approaches that are out there that get great results for people. And there's no one size fits all approach. So seek out what works for you.
Oh, so important. There isn't one size. And again, back to that people thinking things don't work. And these books absolutely 100% provide so many modalities. And Marilyn, I'm giving you the last word too. Like,
Oh, thank you. And thanks to the collaboration. We don't heal alone, we heal in community. And so to be a part of this magical collaboration is beyond, beyond. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank all of you authors so much for what you're doing in the world and for being here to share it with everyone. And to our listeners here with you, this is, as you can
Mm.
tell already, this is way more than a book. This is an amazing community, a generous community who's there for you to answer any questions that you have, to carry on conversations like this one, and to support you on your journey. If you resonated with anybody today, which I'm sure, how can you not? You can
Mm.
go down to the show notes. All of the authors' links are going to be there, and feel free to explore and to connect with everybody here, share what's going on. And of course, we hope that you hop on over to Amazon and grab your copy of this amazing book today. And the link is also below that. And everyone, the Brave Healer community wants you to remember that your words will change the world when you are brave enough to share them. We'll see you next time, everybody. Thank you all so much.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.